A game about hats, where the gameplay feels great and it's got tons of great elements. I don't want to play with you anymore. Bye, Mario. Hey friends, I'm Pragmatik and I like to talk about video games. And the game I want to talk about today is A Hat in Time. Now, I don't claim to be the biggest platform lover or anything like that, and honestly, when I picked this game up, I didn't know if I'd review it. But after I really played through it and really appreciated the effort and time that was put into this masterpiece of a game, I had to talk about it.
I know, I started this video with a comparison to Nintendo's own Mario Odyssey, which I'm totally sure hasn't been done before. But jokes aside, to really sit down and compare these two games solely based on their mechanics, similar and not, shows that these two games are vastly different. While I think both games are great, I think A Hat in Time has a lot to really appreciate in terms of game design, as well as the amount of work and effort put into it over the course of many, many years. Our story starts with our little space-traveling heroine on a course for home. This trip is cut short when she's halted by a member of the Mafia from the newly appointed town of Mafia Town. It appears that she's due to give them a toll for her travels, and when she refuses to pay, she and her timepieces are flung out of her spaceship, and she's sent careening to the neighboring planet where Mafia Town resides. Now our little hat kid must travel the many lands to recover her lost timepieces if she's ever to make it home. But luckily for her and for us, it turns out that Hat Kid is in possession of some very good knitting skills, as she can find magic yarns throughout the world, which she can then craft into a variety of different hats, each with their own unique abilities, like brewing explosive potions, turning into ice blocks, being able to sprint faster, seeing into a phantom realm to access hidden objects, and even slowing down time itself. All of these abilities will be required to help her in her task of acquiring all of her lost timepieces. Now let's go over our standards of a platformer recipe. An upgradable ability system to help the player obtain out-of-reach items? Check. Hopefully fast and smooth movement to progress through the stages? Check. Delightful soundtrack? Big check. A unique cast of characters set throughout multiple fun worlds? Oh yeah, that's a check. A staggering amount of objective items to obtain, most of which are forgettable or you won't want to even attempt getting? Here's a question to those especially fond of the platformer genre. How many timepieces do you think are in this game? The average guess might be around 120, maybe 100, maybe with a lower net of 80? Not even close. A Hat in Time, and its base game, has a total of 40 timepieces to collect. Mario Odyssey has a max total of 1,000. Super Mario 64 has 120. Banjo-Kazooie at its max has 55 jiggies. So how does it seem feasible for A Hat in Time to have just 40 collectible timepieces? Well, to me, it's one of A Hat in Time's biggest and most important features. Every timepiece you collect feels like an adventure. Each world you travel to has around 5 or more levels in them that contain a timepiece each. Each of these levels will usually have you going on some type of journey, or will have you completing a task for someone that will eventually give you what you're looking for. And it's that mechanic that makes A Hat in Time so satisfying in its format. The timepieces you collect and the adventures you go on don't feel lifeless. Your journey starts in Mafia Town, but you'll be starring in movies with the rival Bird movie makers.
We need to transform you into the biggest movie star the bird world has ever seen.
Fulfilling contract obligations when your soul is signed away by the evil spirit of the woods.
You again? I thought I made myself pretty clear last time, kiddo.
And you'll even be free roaming the cliffs of a great mountain inhabited by large goat people. It won't be a walk in the park either, as this mischievous mustache girl learns the potential of your timepieces you obtain, and seeks to use the power for herself to reclaim Mafia Town. Collecting the timepieces never once felt like a chore to me. There were definitely challenging and stressful ones to obtain, but each one I collected felt more rewarding than in other games I played with the same premise. It felt satisfying, and it most of all felt fun. It's the interwoven stories of each world that play throughout each level that makes it so engaging. The difficulty fluctuates from challenging stealth levels to faraway places to reach, to even simple tasks like getting your picture taken and winning the favor of fans to raise the excitement of your upcoming movie. Yes, that is an actual level and I love it. It's a platformer all its own where you jump into a level wondering what you're going to get mixed up in next. But if you want a little break from the story and its missions, some of the timepieces are locked away in these time rifts. These serve as challenging but fun platform levels which might give you Mario Sunshine vibes. These levels are honestly some of my favorite of the bunch, as they're usually accompanied with this super calming music to help you breathe while performing difficult jumps. Some time rifts also include a side mission of collecting pages to a book that gives you a little more backstory on the characters you interact with. It really serves to give you a little emotional attachment to these characters from what is mostly a silly game. Cutting back to just 40 timepieces defined means that each one of these objectives could be just a little more fleshed out and meaningful. It is the very definition of quality over quantity. And that's what I love about A Hat in Time. It's just the perfect amount of time put into a game, and to me, I enjoyed the entire time I played. And A Hat in Time working in so many gameplay elements like racing, stealth segments, completing tasks, it's just enough to keep the game feeling fresh and addictive. It's something you'll miss when it's over, not something just to be glad that it's completed. But if by some chance this just isn't enough for you, that's where the extra fun is. If you got the Switch version, there is the included Seal the Deal event. This unlocks all kinds of challenges you can undertake from Snatcher while seeking out the timepieces. And this also includes the added DLC of getting to come abroad a cruise liner that ties in a lot of previously established characters for more levels and antics to get mixed up in.
We didn't do a very good job, and we lost some of the pieces. I'm very sorry, miss. Please don't be upset.
There's also the paid DLC Yakuza Metro, which many say is a must for the full experience. All of this comes together nicely to fill out what is basically a 10-hour game on its own.
You can't talk about a platformer without talking about the gameplay and how well the game feels. And with this game, well, this may just be one of the best of the actual genre.
A Hat in Time feels great. Progressing through stages feels like one fluid motion, and it's amazing just how far you can get through a level in such a small amount of time. The wall jumping, double jumping, and diving feels so tight and responsive, and it's honestly just the rhythm you can get lost in. There are hiccups here and there, like if you don't time your jump just right, you could find yourself hitting against a wall and sending yourself off the map. I think this is a game that anybody can pick up and learn, but do be prepared to see your progress go out the window with one badly timed dive. All of Hat Kid's abilities she obtains throughout the stages can sometimes feel like they take a backseat to the actual gameplay, which I personally feel is something done right. Her abilities serve as either an enhancement to her progression throughout the stages, or an ability to access previously unreachable areas. It takes next to no time to get enough yarn for your hats, which means you won't be waiting hours to unlock necessary abilities. One such ability allows you to sprint, and this is further enhanced once you apply some badges. Badges are little equipable items that give you small perks, or disadvantages too if you're into that kind of thing, to help you progress through the levels. For example, there is one badge that takes your sprint and converts it into a full-on moped ride, which is my preferred way of travel. Hat Kid can also gain a badge that lets her shoot a giant energy ray, vaporizing her opponents instantly. I never personally use this badge, but that's pretty cool, you have to admit. Also, you can hit up and down on the D-pad to blow kisses or blow raspberries at people, and that's just about the best thing I've ever seen in a video game. There is so much effort put into this game to keep you moving fast and fluently, and it really just boils down to your preferred setting to let you play your own way. And I think that's how a platformer should work, building upon itself to give you the most enjoyable platforming experience. I'm seriously gushing here, but there are a few negative aspects that this game does have. A very noticeable blemish in what is nearly a flawless game is that A Hat in Time has some notoriously bad frame drops. The levels are pretty massive, so loading in a lot of assets can cause the game to freeze completely for a few seconds, or just have a bit of a hiccup here and there. Personally, that wasn't too common for me, but when it did happen, it was very apparent. I played the Switch version, so I don't know if this changes with a PC version or not. It's also worth noting that A Hat in Time has a lot of challenges in its vanilla playthrough. This includes time segments, finding secret areas, a multitude of pretty challenging boss battles, and segment-specific challenges such as stealth missions. And I've heard from a few friends that the stealth portions of the game nearly killed the game entirely for them. I can certainly understand that, as it was the part that made me sweat the most, but I did find it enjoyable more than discouraging. So this would vary from person to person.
Is this the kid with the hat? I hope you like my present. Go to the back of the train. You're
show your fans some love, or I'll be talking to a corpse next time.
I really don't know if anything else stands out to me that could be considered bad. A Hat in Time does have its share of pitfalls that I found myself falling into time and time again, but I feel that's par for the course with platformers, and I'd rather have them there for the challenge than just to do away with them altogether. When it comes to the work put in by Gears for Breakfast, I can only say great things. So much so that I came to the realization that this game deserves a spot in my top 10 games of all time, and that's saying a lot for someone who doesn't typically prefer platformers. Years of work went into the development of this game, and with each new build of the game, you could see the team getting closer and closer to what they wanted to achieve. And I feel that when that final build came, it was everything they wanted and more. A Hat in Time is a phenomenal game in every aspect. The visuals are cute and colorful, and the personality of Hat Kitted herself is something to be enjoyed. With little to no words, she certainly doesn't feel like an empty shell controlled by the player. And without going too deep into each interaction she has with the people, you'll probably find yourself loving every bit of mischief she finds herself getting into. The writing and humor of this game is just top notch as well, and is worth playing A Hat in Time alone for.
Look at that! She helped the puppy down safe and sound. Too bad it ran off and definitely didn't break into multiple pieces.
I really don't want to get too into the story, but there really were some segments that had me grinning from ear to ear. Plus the music is just some of the best I've heard in a while. A Hat in Time takes on multiple genres of music that never feels out of place. From dark ambient to big band, A Hat in Time has a tune for everyone. A Hat in Time is simply phenomenal, and I can't remember the last time I was truly excited to start up a game each and every time. It's challenging, it's comical, and it's got a soundtrack that keeps on giving. And if you find yourself wanting more, there is always DLC to add on that feels like an addition and not something that was just missing from the original build of the game. It's actual DLC that I felt justified about buying. A Hat in Time is a game that I cannot recommend enough, and I hope that you'll try it out. You may just find yourself being unable to put it down, or maybe you'll hate it, I don't know. It's all just personal opinion. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out my review of A Hat in Time. I hope you enjoyed this cute platformer as much as I did, and if so, let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing if you're new. Have a great day, and keep it practical.